Watching this video, you will become an expert at using artificial intelligence, AI, to summarize and analyze massive volumes of textual information with 100% accuracy in minutes using Google's NotebookLM. I will show you how step by step. I'll make it easy. This will be a game changer for you. First, let me introduce you to NotebookLM. NotebookLM is powered by Gemini. Gemini is Google's artificial intelligence, AI, large language model, similar to ChatGPT. NotebookLM gives us two advantages compared to other AI tools that are important in our use case of textual analysis. NotebookLM can handle large volumes of text, and it can provide very high accuracy when instructed properly. NotebookLM is organized into notebooks. Each notebook can handle up to 50 sources, and each source can handle up to 500,000 words. For comparison, the largest Harry Potter book had 257,000 words. So one source in NotebookLM can handle 2 Harry Potter books. Another advantage of NotebookLM is that it can analyze text with high accuracy and overcome AI hallucinations. What are AI hallucinations? It's when the artificial intelligence, large language model, AI, gives misinformation, wrong answers, basically lies. This is documented by MIT, Google, and OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT. The way to minimize AI hallucinations is in 3 ways. 1, you isolate the artificial intelligence. 2nd, you ground the artificial intelligence. And then 3rd, you properly instruct it. And we can do that with NotebookLM. NotebookLM only looks at the information that you give it. It does not look at outside sources. So that provides the isolation component of the solution to AI hallucinations. Secondly, you upload your documents, so that's grounding it. So it will only analyze your information that you provide. So it's isolated and it's grounding. Then the third part, which I will show you how to do in this video, is you have to instruct it properly, especially if accuracy is your #1 goal. Now let's start the step-by-step tutorial on how to use NotebookLM. First, go to notebooklm.google.com. You will first see the gallery of notebooks, including your past notebooks. To create a notebook, click Create New Notebook. Create New Notebook. When you do that, it'll create a new notebook for you. Now this is a notebook that I did earlier today, and I'm going to use it as a demonstration. Now this is a real-life example. What I did was I took the text from this book, Designing Your Life, by Bill Burnett and Dale Evans, professors at Stanford. I took the text, and this book has over 34,000 words. 34,000 words. And I'm going to show you what I did to compress it and analyze it, and I am 100% confident in the accuracy of this analysis. Now, if you look in the description box below, there is a link to a PDF file. And what this PDF file is, it actually has the actual prompts and instructions that I put into the NotebookLM. So then you can copy and modify this for your own uses. And at the top, there's actually a link that you can click and it'll take you to NotebookLM. By the way, for NotebookLM, you just need a Google account, Gmail account, to use NotebookLM. And let's go back to the frequently asked questions. These limits of 100 notebooks with 50 sources and 500,000 words each, that's for the free service. So Google is very generous in its AI allotment for the free accounts. So designing Your Life, this is a notebook that I constructed using text from Designing Your Life. So what I did was I uploaded the table of contents as well as the whole book. So let me show you how they look. So this was the text file of the table of contents. And this is text actually extracted from the audiobook. Okay, so now let me show you. The first thing you want to do is you have to add sources. So the way to do that is click add. And it allows many different sources, PDF files, but it doesn't allow Word docs. But you try the document and it'll tell you if there's an error. So I'm going to give you an example of me uploading the table of contents. I simply drag the file from my desktop and then put it into upload sources. And then it'll take a few seconds to upload and then it'll show up. Let's do that again with my document file. This is the whole book. You can also copy and paste just directly into a box here of text. So what happens is these check marks tell you that the chat will look at all of these sources. But let's say I can unselect or unclick a few of these. I'll unclick this one and I'll unclick this one. So what that means is it's only going to use this source and then this source. In the middle of your notebook is the chat box, and this is where you put the prompts, instructions. For example, here I wrote, give me a 200-word summary using only direct quotes, and then put quotes in quotation marks, and then it gave me the answer. So let's look at my prompt sheet. Again, you can download this from the link in the description box below. And this is what I mean by properly instructing it for accuracy. For me, for what I wanted to do in this particular use case was I wanted to maintain 100% accuracy. And the way to do that is saying I told NotebookLM, the artificial intelligence, you can only use direct quotes. And I want quotation marks in those direct quotes. So that means that all of the output are direct quotes from the text that I uploaded to NotebookLM. So this does not allow the artificial intelligence to confabulate, hallucinate, interpret, speculate. I don't want that. I want the information as is. It's as if you're if you were reading the book with a highlighter, you're highlighting key words or key sentences. That's what I wanted. And then this allows me to achieve very high accuracy. So we have the three parts here. We have isolation, because NotebookLM does not look at any other sources outside of the notebook. We have grounding. Grounding is where you upload the sources. It only looks at your sources. So it's grounded in my sources. And number three, I'm instructing it properly. In this particular case, I want maximum accuracy. So I say, look, I only want direct quotes. And so in here, I put multiple different quotes that I put, or prompts or instructions that I put into the chat box. So here's the general template that I use. Use only direct quotes in your response and put quotes and quotation marks. Then I put here, I reference the actual sources. The attached file, table of contents, has the table of contents for the attached file whole book. Table of contents has an introduction, 11 chapters in between the introduction and conclusion, and a conclusion, a total of 13 chapters. You will generate an outline with headings that match the table of contents. The outline will have about 2,000 words. Use only direct quotes in your response and put quotes and quotation marks. Then I also asked it to do a mind map, a summary, and a top 20 list. So the reason why I gave you these prompts is because these are the prompts that I feel like for me is the best way for me to decode or break down material. I want an outline, a mind map, and then I want a summary and a top 20 list. And they provide different types of information. So let's go through the prompt box and show you what I did here. This one says, this one asked for a 500-word outline. So so the prompts that I'm showing you were the final prompts, but I was playing around with and seeing the outputs. So this one was this one's for an outline with 1,000 words. And these headings match the table of contents. So if I'm reading the book or listening to the audiobook, I can follow along from this list. And notice how there's quotation marks everywhere here. And also it actually links, it tells you where the sources are from. So if I wanted to quote this particular book, for example, Life 1, The Obvious Path, whatever this quote is, I could say, okay, it's in chapter 5, and I can look for that. Prototyping. So then scrolling down here, I said, okay, I like that, but let me do a longer outline. So let's do 2,000 words. So now this basically does a nice little summary of each chapter. Next, let me show you how to use the prompt box and to give NotebookLM instructions. So in the center panel at the bottom is the prompt box. And this is where you type in the instructions. So first, make sure that you've checked off the sources that you want to use. So we want table of contents and whole book. Go to the prompt box and then type in your instructions. For example, here I'm going to type in here, summarize in let's say 100 words. Use direct quotes only. Let's just say summarize in 100 words. So then you can hit enter or just push this blue arrow here and it will process the information it's thinking. And then here's the output. Summarize in 100 words, and then it gives me a summary. And then we can also put here, give me top 10 takeaways. It gives me a top 10 list of takeaways. Okay, so now let me show you several, on the right side, there's several different features that you can do with this. One is you can do an audio overview, okay? So what that does is it basically creates a podcast. If you click video overview, it creates a PowerPoint type presentation. Mind map creates a mind map. We can do reports, flashcards, and quizzes. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so audio overview is audio podcast. Video is a slide, like a PowerPoint presentation with audio and slides. Let me show you what the mind map does. So you give it a few seconds and it generates a mind map. Now on this right side called the studio, when you click one of these things, it will actually automatically save it. So right now it's generating the mind map. Let me show you a previous mind map that I did. So this is a mind map that I made previously. I really like this format because you can see relationships. And then when you click these arrows, it expands the concepts out. Mind maps are a wonderful way to understand material because it forces connections between the nodes. So each one of these dots are called nodes. So when you prompt the NotebookLM, so in the mind map, I write nodes. That's a keyword. Now, why did I do that as a textual version? It is right now you can download the mind map, but it's not dynamic. So it could be improved on in terms of the output, but as it is on the actual live website, this is an outstanding way to understand the material. Now, if I wanted to, let me close this. So mind map, to go back to the studio, you click studio here. Now the reason why I wrote here mind map is in the prompt is because I wanted to have a textual version of the mind map image. So it's a little bit different way of looking at it versus an outline. It's kind of like an outline, but it's based on interconnecting the nodes of information. So now let me show you reports. It allows you to do a briefing doc, study guide, blog post, strategic memo, personal development plan, container, explainer, narrative summary. Now for me, what I feel when I'm trying to process information, to me, briefing doc is the most useful. So when you click briefing doc, it processes it. So let me show you the one that I made earlier today. So it provides an executive summary and it gives a breakdown. So if you want to quickly look at the information, you can upload text and just click briefing doc. So those two steps, upload your text file and then click briefing doc. And again, to go back, just click studio here. Now these other things here are, so let me show you something here. One downside of NotebookLM is this. When you close your browser, all of this chat will be gone. So if you really like an output, you got to copy and paste it into, let's say, a Word document. Okay. Now, next time around, you can reproduce the prompts, but the nature of artificial intelligence is that it's each time you can ask the same question over and over, it's not going to give you exactly the same answer. So if you really love an output, and you're going to say, I'm going to save this out, I'm going to print this out, and I'm going to give this to a friend, then what you want to do is copy and paste into Word. And so one way to do it is if you click this save button, here, let's go back up here. So if you do this, this copies this output, and then there you go. And then you can also save it as a note. If you do that, it's going to save it on the right side. Or you can just copy, just select and copy. Now, this refresh button, it actually is useful because sometimes what will happen is if you have a very long chat, I've seen Google Gemini get confused by previous answers. So what I would recommend in terms of workflow is do your thing. If you find responses that you like, you should click Save to Note. But I would actually copy and paste into Word and then save it. If you find that it's starting to get weird, if you're starting to get weird responses, I would click refresh. It wipes out everything. Because if you do that in a very long chat, old parts of the chat will start confusing it. And it'll even like reference old parts of the chat as if they were parts of the sources. So it's kind of it's one of the weaknesses of the NotebookLM. But a simple solution is just to click refresh. So one takeaway I would have to say is this: is if you want to analyze large volumes of text, if you want high accuracy, the simplest step I would recommend is this: open up NotebookLM with a Gmail account. It's fine to use the free account. Google is generous. Upload it by clicking Add, and then go to Reports and click Briefing Doc. And then within less than a minute, you're going to be able to start breaking down that information.